Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alicia and you're watching Alicia's Life. I'm here to review The Real Housewives of New York, Season 9, Episode 8. Let's get started. So guys, this is a Berkshires episode, so we know we're in for a good time. The show starts off with Tom and Luann walking through Central Park, just filler. And we see Carol and Ramona about to have a conversation. That should be interesting. And we see Bethany. She's decided to sell her apartment, the one that she bought when she was in transition from her divorce, the one when she was homeless and crying in the back of her car about not having a place to stay. So she bought that nice apartment. And she has enlisted the help of Friedrich from $1 Million Listing New York to help sell this apartment since the last one went so well. So they both decided on a price of $5.25 million. Amazing. Oh God. Can you imagine selling two properties for multi-millions of dollars? Amazing. Anyway, I've heard that Bethany and Friedrich are going to be pairing up for their own spin-off show about real estate. So this is probably why we're seeing so much of her selling off her assets. They go through her apartment, discuss how to stage it, get it together. They go into her closet, and Friedrich starts smelling her shoes. I'm like, that is so creepy and weird. Like, what is that about? Does he have a fetish? Strange. So Ramona goes over to see Carol. And of course, they're talking about Luann and Tom because there's nothing else that they have going on in their life but to keep on rehashing what is going on in Luann's life. So basically, they're discussing whether or not Luann is ready to get married. Is she having cold feet? What's really going on with her? Should she go through it? And Carol tells Ramona about the conversation that she had with, I guess, Barbara from last episode, but she said she overheard somebody talking about Luann and not sure if she should go through with it or not. Ramona shares a text that she got from a friend that she calls Anne, who says that the lady was with Tom and Tom tried to force his tongue down her throat. Carol makes a joke and says, oh, like Donald Trumpian, like that's how he did it? And Ramona gets all offended, like, don't joke like that. He's not like that. I know him. And I was like, really? Which housewife does not know Donald Trump? We had Sonia who knew him. We know Bethany knows him. And now Ramona too. Do you guys think she really knows Donald Trump? Carol looks a little shocked by her outburst and confused, like, what? Did she just say what I thought she said? But she didn't pursue it. I wish she would have said, what? What is going on? Like, I kind of wish she would have pursued that, but she didn't. So long story short, they rehash the whole thing and they decide, all right, in the Berkshires, we're going to approach Luann about Tom yet again, and we're going to have a little intervention. They decide that they're going to have Dorinda do it because Dorinda made a point last season of saying, you should have come to me and I could have talked to Luann. So they're going to let Dorinda do the dirty work. We move on to Dorinda, who's getting ready in the Berkshires. She's very excited. And she's decided this year she's going to be strategic. She doesn't want another showdown like last season. So she's decided to invite the ladies in 3 groups. The first group coming is going to be Ramona, Sonia, and Tinsley. The second group is going to be Carol and Bethany. And the last group is Luann. So they're going to come in on different days so that they're not all together for all that time. Probably pretty smart. Sonia and Ramona arrive, and Ramona is saying how cold it is in the house. She said it reminds her of Sonia's house that has no heat. And then Ramona tells us that some women are at the age where they get hot flashes. So maybe that's why it's cold in there. And I was thinking, all right. So didn't we learn that Ramona is actually 10 years older than Dorinda, which is crazy to me. And 2, does anybody else remember the last Berkshires trip that they went on? Not the last one, but a couple seasons back when they went to Heather Yummy's house and Heather Yummy didn't have any air conditioning. And so Ramona went and bought an AC unit for the window. So I don't know about those hot flashes, Ramona. Maybe you should be throwing stones since you live in that glass house. Tinsley hasn't gone up to the Berkshires yet. Her mother's in town, so they already have plans to go to lunch. So she's going to have lunch with her mom, and then she's going to go up there. When her mom comes in, she meets her mom at her hotel room, and her mom looks like an aged socialite. Did she look like a socialite to anybody else? Anyway, Tinsley tells us that her parents divorced many, many years ago. But just 2 years ago, her dad died. So now her mom is single. And I thought, now your mom is single? Like, if they got divorced many, many years ago, aren't they single? I don't know, guys. If you live in New York or somewhere else where divorce doesn't mean you're single, let me know. Explain that to me. So her mother tells Tinsley that she brought Dad with her. And it just on the surface sounds like, oh, well, her dad's visiting too. And Tinsley sounds like, she's like, what? Like she's just shocked, like, what? And then we find out that he's in an urn. So now that her father was deceased, they had him cremated. And now his ashes travel around the country, visiting family members. That is very strange to me, but maybe not to other people in the world. But anyway, so her mother has brought her father to visit Tinsley. And Tinsley seems a little uncomfortable by it too. She seems like she didn't really want to go in there and say anything to her dad, but she did it kind of to respect her mom and go along with the whole thing. But I think she might think it's weird too. So moving on, once they get past that part, the mother and daughter sit down and start talking, and they both feel like each other's critiquing the other. They're talking about how they look and their outfits and that kind of thing. And so they learn that each other feels judged by the other, which is very strange. Maybe this is going to be some breakthrough in their relationship to get over the superficial stuff. Then we go into this whole little like cross scene of Dorinda and Sonia talking about Tinsley, and then Tinsley and her mother talking about Sonia. So in the Berkshires, we have Sonia starting to kind of complain about Tinsley, saying that she felt like Tinsley would be more grateful, do more things, like take her a cup of coffee in the morning, just different kind things. She talks about how Tinsley goes out with her friends and doesn't invite her, and she's starting to feel a little taken advantage of her, taken for granted, left out. And back with Tinsley and her mother's asking, how are things going with Sonia? Are you being nice to her? Are you being gracious to her? She's being so generous to you. Are you doing little nice things for her? And so Tinsley says, well, not at first. At first, I just wanted to kind of get my bearings and kind of see how things were. And so basically, I mean, as far as we know, Tinsley really has never done any of those little nice gestures that Sonia's expecting. And her mother seems to feel the same way as Sonia, like, hey, she's being hospitable to you. You should be doing a lot of nice little things for her. But Tinsley's kind of, I felt defensive, like justifying why she hasn't been very gracious. And maybe she would have been at first, but now that Sonia's kind of becoming more overbearing and kind of speaking into her life in a way that's not been invited, maybe Tinsley's like, look, I'm not doing anything for this lady. I just need to get away from her. And all of that is out the window. So you're already seeing a rift between Sonia and Tinsley, which we started seeing last week. So mark my words. I bet you those two ladies will be on opposite couches at the reunion. Tinsley and her mother briefly discuss Tinsley having a baby and her mother moving in to take care of the baby once she has her. And Tinsley doesn't seem too keen on that idea. And I really feel like Tinsley's trying to find herself. Like I've said 1,000 times, she seems like she's like in her 20s, not her 40s. She just really seems like she's trying to find her way. And I'm sure she wouldn't want to go from Sonia's overbearingness to her mother's overbearingness. She wants to be free. We have a small scene with Carol. She's meeting Adam's parents. She said she's really good with parents. And it struck me how close in age Carol looked to his parents. And I thought, I wonder if she sees that. Does she feel weird around them? Probably not. She said she's good with parents, but anyway, it was a brief scene. They seem to get along just fine. They've known each other for a while now, and it was a cute scene. Tinsley finally makes it to the Berkshires, and it is nighttime. I could have sworn they said that she was having lunch with her mother, but whatever. It's super dark when she gets there. And right away, Sonia starts giving her a hard time that she didn't go with her to the Berkshires. And Tinsley's like, I went to lunch with my mother. Like, what do you want me to do? I made these plans weeks before I even knew about the Berkshires. But Sonia won't let up. So I wonder if part of this needling is for the show. Like, are the producers putting her up to it? We know how easily influenced Sonia is. How impressionable she is. The powers of suggestion. So I just really wondered, does she really care that much about what Tinsley's doing? It's kind of weird, right? She's just a house guest. So the second day of the Berkshires arrive, and Carol and Bethany are on deck. They both show up with their furs and their shades, and they're looking like superstars. And what was interesting is that everybody who showed up to the Berkshires, they don't knock, they just walk in. I'm like, how strange. I guess maybe her house is in the middle of nowhere, and they already know when they're going to arrive, but everyone just walks in. And so Bethany and Carol just walk in. They're like, hello, anybody here? So because the topic of conversation at the Berkshires is going to be about Luann and Tom, Bethany and Carol start discussing rumors they have heard. And Bethany has heard that some woman has been having an affair with Tom. So yet another woman on the scene. And my opinion is, I think that even though it looks like the marriage is doomed because it just seems like Tom is a philanderer, we don't really know. But I think even if the marriage doesn't work out because Tom is truly a cheater or whatever, then I think that people would still be sympathetic towards Luann. They might be like, I told you so. But I think people love Luann enough to where they would help support her and get her back on her feet. I think she'll be fine. So finally, the plan is hatched. All the ladies get together with Dorinda, and they attack her, basically saying, look, Dorinda, I've heard this, and I've heard this, and I've heard this, and I've heard this, and you need to go to Luann, and you need to tell her that Tom is cheating on her, and you need to find out if she really wants to get married to him, and it's all on your shoulders, because you're the one who asked for this role. And Dorinda's like overwhelmed. She's like, look, it's my birthday. I just want to have a good time this weekend. I didn't expect any of this stuff, but okay. Since I said I was going to talk to her, I'll talk to her. But she doesn't want to do it alone. She says she's a little afraid to do it. I'd be afraid too. Y'all, how awkward, how uncomfortable. But anyway, she doesn't want to go alone, so she wants Ramona to be there. And I thought, Ramona, really? Like, is it because you think this is going to go better with Ramona there? Have you not been paying attention at all the other times Ramona has been inserting herself into this relationship? That is going to be a nuclear bomb going off to have Ramona involved in that conversation, in my opinion. So now we're on to day 3. And Luann arrives. So at the beginning of the day, there was this huge dust up in the kitchen between Sonia and Tinsley. They're arguing because one day Tinsley had a package come into the house and she asked Connor to receive it because she was going out. Well, why did she do that? Because Sonia blew a gasket. She said, Connor's my assistant. You're not allowed to use him for anything. You're going to distract him from the things I need him to do. And Tinsley just does not understand it. She's like, look, it's just a hat. Like, what's the big deal? It's a package. It's not that big of a deal. I was leaving, which is a favor for me. And Sonia cannot believe that she dared to use her assistant. She's so upset about it. Like, I mean, Sonia's really mad. Like, she's not backing down. And Tinsley's mad too. And she doesn't understand what the real big issue is. I think what really set Sonia off is that when they showed the flashback of the scene, Sonia actually overhears Tinsley asking Connor, where's mommy? So I think that is blatantly disrespectful. Not only are you my house guest, you're disrespecting me in my home and with my assistant. So that is disrespectful for Connor. That's your employer. You shouldn't be talking about your employer behind her back and then to be overheard, you know? And so I think that made Sonia really feel extremely disrespected. And the fact that the two of them are teaming up as if she's the bad guy, I think that really bothered her much more than the hat. But the hat was the excuse to have it out with Tinsley. So we see Dorinda decide to sit down with Luann. And she starts to broach the subject, and she uses a whole lot of words. Like, it's almost like she kind of just told Luann everything about the girl that he put his tongue down her throat, the text messages, all the different details. But it all kind of came out in a rush. And so I really wonder if Luann was able to take it all in. So it was kind of like, a rush kind of thing. I'm sure Dorinda felt uncomfortable, and it kind of ended that way. At the end of the day, Dorinda just wants to know from Luann, do you 100% trust Tom? So Luann says she trusts Tom 100%. She's sure. She knows when it's right. And she's not making any mistakes. But she does feel like the women have too much time on their hands. And Ramona especially, because she's still calling Tom's friends in the middle of the night. And she starts to tell Dorinda about this when Ramona walks in. Dun, dun, dun. To be continued. So we'll see what happens next week when Ramona walks in. Will there be a blow up? What's going to happen? We'll have to stay tuned and see. So you guys, did you see this week's episode? Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Whose side are you on between Sonia and Tinsley? Like, what's really going on there? And do you think the ladies should just butt out of Luann's life? Do you find it interesting to rehash this again this season? I really want to know what you think. Leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, you guys. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already so you won't miss out on a single one of these reviews. Give me a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!